Chapter 13 Protection of Parties for or against one's own cause in one's own state. Having set up spies over his prime ministers, the king shall proceed to espy both citizens and country people. Classmate spies, formed as opposing factions, shall carry on disputations in places of pilgrimage, in assemblies, houses, corporations, and amid congregations of people. One spy may say, "The king is said to be endowed with all desirable qualities. He seems to be a stranger to such tendencies as would lead him to oppress citizens and country people by levying heavy fines and taxes." Against those who seem to commend this opinion, another spy may interrupt the speaker and say, "People suffering from anarchy, as illustrated by the proverbial tendency of a large fish swallowing a small one, first elected Manu, the Vaivasvata, to be their king, the allotted 1/6 of the crown, and 1/10 of merchandise as sovereign dues. Fed by this payment, kings took upon themselves the responsibility of maintaining the safety and security of their subjects, and of being answerable for the sins of their subjects when the principle of levying just punishments and taxes has been violated. Hence, hermits too provide the king with 1/6 of the grains gleaned by them, thinking that it is a tax payable to him who protects us. It is the king in whom the duties of both Indra and Yam are blended, and he is visible dispenser of punishments and rewards. Whoever disregards kings will be visited with divine punishments too. Hence, kings shall be despised. Thus, treacherous opponents of sovereignty shall be silenced. Spies shall also know the rumors prevalent in the state. Spies with shaved heads or braided hair shall ascertain whether there prevails content or discontent among those who live upon the grains, cattle, and gold of the king, among those who supply the same in weal or woe, those who keep under restraint a disaffected relative of the king or a rebellious district, as well as those who drive away an invading enemy or a wild tribe. The greater the contentment of such persons, the more shall be the honor shown to them, while those who are disaffected shall be ingratiated by rewards or conciliation, or dissension may be sown among them, so that they may alienate themselves from each other, from a neighboring enemy, from a wild tribe, or from a banished or imprisoned prince. Those who are inebriated with feelings of enmity may be put down by punishment in secret, or by making them incur the displeasure of the whole country. Or having taken the sons and wives of such treacherous person under state protection, they may be made to live lives in mines, lest they may afford shelter to enemies. Those that are angry, those that are greedy, those that are alarmed, as well as those that despise the king, are the instruments of enemies. Spies under the guise of astrologers and tellers of omens and augury shall ascertain the relationship of such persons with each other and with foreign kings. Honors and rewards shall be conferred upon those that are contented, while those that are disaffected shall be brought round by conciliation, by gifts, or by sowing dissension, or by punishment. Thus, in his own state, a wise king shall guard factions among his people, friendly or hostile, powerful or powerless, against the intrigue of foreign kings. Chapter 14 Winning over factions for or against an enemy's cause in an enemy's state. Protection of parties for or against one's cause in one's own state shall be dealt with. Similar measures in connection with parties in a foreign state are to be treated of. Those who are deluded with false promise of large rewards, those of whom one party, those equally skillful as another party in artistic work or in turning out productive or beneficial works, is slighted by bestowing larger rewards on its rival party. Those who are harassed by courtiers, those who are invited to be slighted, those who are harassed by banishment, those who in spite of their large outlay of money have failed in their undertakings, those who are prevented from the exercise of rights or from taking possession of their inheritance, those who have fallen from their rank and honors in government services, those who are shoved to the corner by their own kinsmen, those whose women are violently assaulted, those who are thrown in jail, those who are punished in secret, those who are warned of their misdeeds, those whose property has been wholly confiscated, those who have long suffered from imprisonment, those whose relatives are banished, all these come under the group of provoked persons. He who has fallen a victim to misfortune by his own misdeeds, he who is offended, he whose sins deeds are brought to light, he who is alarmed at the award of punishment on a man of like guilt, he whose lands have been confiscated, he whose rebellious spirit is put down by coercive measures, he who as a superintendent of all government departments has suddenly amassed a large amount of wealth, he who as a relative of such a rich man aspires to inherit his wealth, he who is disliked by the king and he who hates the king, all these come under the group of persons alarmed. He who is impoverished, he who has lost much wealth, he who is niggardly, he who is addicted to evil propensities, he who is engaged in dangerous transactions, all these constitute the group of ambitious persons. He who is self-sufficient, he who is fond of honors, he who is intolerant of his rival's honor, he who is esteemed low, he who is of fiery spirit, he who is foolhardy, as well as he who is not content with what he has been enjoying, all these come under the group of haughty persons. Of these, he who clings to a particular faction shall be so deluded by spies with shaved head or braided hair as to believe that he is intriguing with the party. Partisans under provocation, for example, may be won over by telling that just an elephant in rut and mounted over by a driver under intoxication tramples under its foot whatever it comes across, so this king, disposed of the eye of science, blindly attempts to oppose both citizens and country people. It is possible to restrain him by setting up a rival elephant against him. So have forbearance enough. Likewise, alarmed persons may be won over by telling that just as a hidden snake bites and emits poison over whatever alarms it, so this king, apprehensive of danger from thee, will ere long emit the poison of his resentment on thee, so thou mayest better go elsewhere. Similarly, ambitious persons may be won over by telling that just as a cow reared by dog keepers gives milks to dogs, but not to Brahmins, so this king gives milk to those who are devoid of valor, foresight, eloquence, and bravery, but not to those who are possessed of noble character, so the other king who is possessed of power to discriminate men from men may be quoted. In like manner, haughty persons may be won over by telling that just as a reservoir of water belonging to Chandalas is serviceable only to Chandalas, but not to others, so this king of low birth confers his patronage only on low-born people, but not on Aryas. So this king of low birth confers his patronage only on low-born people, but not on Aryas like thee. So the other king, who is possessed of power to distinguish between men and men, may be courted. All these disaffected persons, when acquiescing to the above proposals, may be made a solemn compact to form a combination together with the spies to achieve their end. Likewise, friends of foreign king may also be won over by means of persuasion and rewards, while implicable enemies may be brought round by sowing dissensions, by threats, and by pointing out the defects of their master.